please join me in welcoming Patrick, Floj, Joy, and Harish. Come on, noise. That's like, guys, wake up. There you go. There you go.
Welcome. That was quite the intro. We're going to do this a little more conversational, and hopefully our folks on stage are ready. We've been talking about women's sports for quite some time, and as you know, I'm the moderator here. I'm from TikTok, and I oversee the publishing monetization function. That has nothing to do with women's sports, unless it actually means we should be talking about that outcome. I'd like to first kick things off by first having each of our panelists do a bit of an intro so they can tell you a little bit about their story. And I'll kick it off with Joy.
I'm Joy Taylor. I'm the host of Speak on FS1, on Fox Sports 1. Also the Two Personal podcasts with Taylor Rooks, who was just up here a moment ago. And Like a Girl on Fuse with MJ Acosta Ruiz, who is right there with her hands up, which is a episodic series interviewing female athletes, one of which is Flauge. So we're very excited for that, and that's my story.
Hello, everyone. My name is Patrick O'Keefe, and I head up Integrated Marketing Communications. That probably sounds really exciting, and it is very exciting, especially at Elf Beauty. What I do every day is to bring joy and happiness to everyone, all our consumers. We have 14 million consumers that show up at our doorstep every day, and we want to make sure that we are standing for every eye, lip, and face, and that means supporting women in sports. And I can say, as a brother of two sisters who played sports, I am so excited to be a part of this conversation, and I'm going to say it's about fucking time that we do something really great.
Okay, period.
I love that. Hi, everyone. My name is Flauge Johnson. Thank you. I played basketball at LSU, won a national championship my first year, and I am signed to Roc Nation as a recording artist, and I'm about to drop my project with Lil Wayne on June 28th. So make sure y'all get Best of Both Worlds when it drops.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know how anybody follows up that, but we'll give it a shot. You sort of teased this out a little bit, but I think this idea of what women's sports means to each one of you, I think it's very personal, and I get the sense that you all have a different perspective. We've been talking about this for a really long time. I think it's been coming up. There was a reference to the pay scale earlier, which I'm sure we have a view on. How does women's sports sort of attach to you, and how do you feel about yourself at this particular time in this conversation?
Well, women's sports to me is the reason why I'm here, because I was an athlete growing up. I played soccer, volleyball, ran track, played basketball. I know, I'm 5'2". Flasha got to teach me a couple moves, though. She was very proud of me. It was a long time ago. But my love for sports and my growth into being a sportscaster came from playing sports. Obviously, watching sports as well and being a fan of great athletes in the WNBA, Flojo, obviously Michael Jordan. I was always a fan of sports and watching sports, but I also played. And having the understanding of the importance of women in sports as a former athlete and college athlete shapes how I look at the game, how I look at athletes, how I look at the business of sports. So it's very much a core part of why I'm here today.
No, to further support that, I grew up with a twin brother who played all sports. I played tennis, and I mentioned my sisters who played sports, and they were super active, and they could kick my ass in basketball and soccer. They literally could. But one of my inspirations was a young tennis player. Her name was Andrea Jaeger. I played tennis in high school. And just watching her really inspired me to really want to support the women in this world. So and what I get to do at ELF every day is create magic. And we've got some really cool stories that we'll get to in a little bit. But it's really about inspiring and working with people like Billie Jean King and Catherine Legg and how they have transformed the way we show up to support women.
What sports is to me is confidence, right? I feel like without confidence, you can't really be great at sports. And I think that's just, and the whole idea of it is just giving confidence to the next generation and letting them know they can do it. So sports is everything to me. I mean, it's the reason why I'm here in France. It's the reason why, I was able to change my family's life. So, I mean, sports to me is everything. And I really, really think that sports is confidence. And so that's what I try to push to the younger generation. You know what I mean?
I love it.
That's great. I'd love to build on that, if that's okay.
Yes.
How has TikTok played a role in that for you, right, on that journey? We're thinking about, there's a lot of folks here who are probably thinking, I want to start, really, really making a dent in this. And ultimately, I'm a little intimidated.
Okay.
So love to tell that story.
Yeah, I think with TikTok, it's like you can't be afraid to fail, right? Because one day you might post a video and get 1 million views. The other day you might post, shoot, it might not get 10K. Like, you never know, you know what I mean? But I think with TikTok, you have to be really consistent. And that's what I've learned on my journey, that if I'm consistent and I really have a purpose with it, it will work. And I try to use my platform just to encourage young girls just to go after it. I think that, if you're looking at it to go viral in a sense, you're not doing it for the right reasons, right? And so I use my platform in order to push that positivity and that confidence through it. And I think that has helped my brand so much, being able to reach the masses in just one little post or one little engagement or whatever. It can inspire so many and change so much. So I think TikTok is just important for my brand, you know what I'm saying? And just being consistent within that.
That's really great. And I love the fact that you're identifying sort of like the area that is probably what's on everyone's minds.
Yeah.
And you sort of attacked it. Loved it. Joy, for you, front of camera is not really a challenge. So how do you see sort of like your role in this community of sort of representing women's sports, right? Given the fact that you've been covering sports for a long time, you also have the angle on the podcast side. Would love to hear how that journey is going for you.
Yeah, the on-camera, we don't get the feedback right away on our shows. That usually comes on social media. So I think from my perspective in the opinion space, I'm giving strong opinions every day, and then I am receiving strong opinions back. So what can be intimidating in social media for people on my end of the business and for, I would say, broadcasters or podcasters and supporting athletes in that space is moving past the comment section. Engagement is important, whether it's good engagement or bad engagement, and finding your way to, have a relationship with it that is positive. Like, you're building a community, really. Flajai and I actually talked a lot about this when we spoke, just finding your path within social media, within TikTok, what your lane is. Trying different things, not being afraid to fail. Like, what is failing? We're all figuring this out and figuring out what works for us. I think for me, I look at it a lot from a business perspective and a branding perspective, more so than trying to, find less fun and more business is how I look at it. And what people respond to will always be something authentic, because that is my goal with anything that I do or participate in, is an authentic conversation, an authentic representation of me, of what I care about, and finding a way to reach the community within TikTok with those guidelines.
That's wonderful. And a lot in there. Patrick, switching gears a little bit, like as a brand, I mean, you alluded to this a little bit at the outset, that there's some real, probable, tangible stories that you could tell that tie to how a brand can really find an authentic connection, right? You guys did that specifically on TikTok. How are you seeing that as a brand? And then what could you what kind of wisdom could you sort of provide?
I don't know about the wisdom piece, but I will tell you a story. Whether it might give you some inspiration. TikTok has always been a major platform for e.l.f., like a lot of other platforms. And we were one of the first beauty brands to create a song called Eyes, Lips, Face with the crew from Movers and Shakers. They helped us create this massive song that went viral, billions and billions of views. But if I fast forward to today, and it's really about the amplification and the storytelling. And what I love about e.l.f. is that we stand for every eye, lip, and face. And we are bold disruptors with a kind heart. We disrupt norms, we shape culture, and we connect communities. That's really important to us. And if I think recently about what we just did at the Indy 500, How many of you know who Catherine Legg is? Thank you for the few hands. But if you don't know Catherine Legg, she was the only woman driver, female driver in the Indy 500. And she is a badass MF in the best possible way. And what we love about that partnership and what we did with her is that she really does stand for empowerment. She stands for giving truth to other women and inspiring young girls. The Indy 500 has always been supporting men. And there are 41% of those that attend the Indy 500 are young girls and women. And no one was talking to them. And we found our way in. We created this really cool, massive space. We had a DJ. We created a lip oil exchange. It was really fun. And we got to inspire. We did a drone show to support empowering legendary females. And that was really a powerful moment for us to support Catherine in a way that no other brand has. And so I will say that TikTok was a part of that. They were a big part of the amplification to help tell that story because you reach such massive audiences.
Wonderful. Flaja, trying to take this so we can dive into the fun stuff. You have quite the profile, right? You obviously kicked off as an athlete, but then you're a fashion icon, you're a rapper. There's probably 7 other things that I haven't listed off yet. How do you put it all together? Right? And then ultimately, how do you make sure it makes sense for what you're trying to achieve?
Yeah, I think I'm just really intentional about everything that I do. And I try to make everything align with who I am. Like, if it doesn't align with what I'm about, I'm not with it. Like, I've turned down a lot of money for something that I was just like, I can't see myself doing that. You know what I mean? And I think when you look further than like the dollar and you really care about like morals and values, you don't compromise for anything. So I think I just stick with what I know. And I have a great mom and she guides me and tells me what I need to do, when I need to do, and how I need to do it. And I just listen. You know what I mean? I listen to Mom always. Wait, Mom, where are you? Hey, Mom. That's my momager right there. Yes, ma'am. But no, I just really like to be authentic with everything. And, you know, I'm balancing music, balancing school, balancing basketball, balancing my entrepreneurship. And I don't know, I just make it work. Like, I'm a real hustler. Like, my name is Flaja Johnson. My middle name is Hustler, I'm telling you. And I just have that work ethic in me. So everything I do, I try to go 100%. I'm not interested in being mediocre. And so I take that in everything that I do. So everything I do, I try to do it the best. Yeah. Like, even though we're on this panel together, like, I'm like, I want to be the best panelist, like, in the best way possible. But, you know, like, yeah, like, that's like, my motivation. So with everything I do, I just try to be the best at it.
I love that. I think you're winning, just to be clear.
No, they're killing me right now. I got to up my game.
But we'll bring it. Don't worry. Specifically to the ladies on the panel, right? I wanted to ask this question. I've heard the phrase a lot, right? Representation matters, yes. Right? How does that manifest in what you do and how that translates to TikTok?
Yeah, I mean, representation is the reason why I'm here. I'm sure Flaja would agree. Being able to see people that look like you, that sound like you, that can relate to your experiences, that are authentically from where you're from, that you don't have to explain things to. Having that visually represented in the highest spaces, it does more than inspire. Like, inspiration is super important, but when you have a diverse amount of representation in a space, you have multiple levels of conversation. Where you come from, you might see something completely different than I do, but through the course of a respected conversation, we might change our entire plan because of what you've told me or what I've told you. And that's why representation is so important beyond just people seeing someone that looks like them or sounds like them and getting inspired. And TikTok obviously has been massive for that because there's so many different communities on TikTok. You can find your people no matter what it is that you're into, what hobbies you have or you're a fan of, and obviously the connectivity that TikTok allows in community building outside of just your relationship with whether it's, a broadcaster or an athlete or a brand is the subset of community that you find within the people that are fans of that as well. So there's so much importance and impact that comes from representation, and particularly for women athletes or for women in the broadcasting space, being able to see and have those conversations. And, we're having authentic conversations on these platforms as well. And TikTok is so much about those connective moments. So you can learn things as well, learn how to present, learn, try how to try different trends or, what someone is talking about and should you do that on your platform. So there's so many different levels of it, but that representation is everything.
Yes. No, I totally agree as a young black girl, but I feel like even if you take young black girl out of it, it's like I'm representing a whole generation of young women, right? And no matter like where you come from or who you are or, what I'm saying, what kind of house you live in, we all go through some of the same experiences, right? And I think that's why, like, even, okay, I'm gonna break it down. Even if I'm getting into it. Okay, even in my music, right? Like, I know everybody not from the hood, right? Everybody not black, everybody don't go through the same struggles, but there's always something overall that you can relate to, right? And you find your people and you find your tribe and you find your community, right? And I think it's so beautiful that on TikTok you can find your tribe and people don't even look like you. Like, I met one of my best friends on TikTok. She's an emo little white girl, and I can say it because my best friend. But, like, we're so different, but, we came together and based off of things that we connected on different ways. And I think that's what's the good side about social media. That's like the beautiful, positive part about social media where, like, you can connect with so many different people. And on TikTok, I think that matters. Like, as a public figure, I understand the responsibility that I have in my representation. I understand that little girls look up to me. It's the sweetest thing. I'm talking about when we, at the end of games, right? Little girls, black, white, Mexican, purple, whatever, they come up and they have on my headband. I wear my headband upside down, right? Because it's a Nike headband. I'm a Puma athlete. I'm loyal. So I wear it upside down. And they're like, I wear my headband upside down just like you, Flage. And I'm like, wow, like they don't even know, but it's like they want to be just like me. So I think that representation and being like, I want to be like that, it just matters, especially in sports, because like I said, sports is confidence. And in any way, if you can find your tribe, build your confidence, and you can win in that way. And I think TikTok just helped promote that confidence, finding your people, finding somebody to be like, I can relate to that, I want to follow that, I'm a fan of that. And I think everybody can find that. I found that in a lot of creators. I met some people here, I'm like, I watch you on TikTok, I'm a fan, I'm subscribed. You know what I'm saying? It's just that community that kind of just brings you together.
That's fantastic. Thank you. I don't know how we follow that up, but we're going to try. Patrick, over to you. I'm thinking more along the lines of there's a lot of brands represented here. There's a lot of folks floating around on the Croisette right now, and they're all trying to figure out how can I be authentic, even though that word is now getting allergic reactions from people. But how can I be truly authentic? How can I show up in a way where my brand truly resonates? From your perspective, what are brands doing wrong?
Oh, wow. Okay.
And what are some things that they could be doing differently?
At ELF, we find if beauty goes right, we go left. We don't follow the traditional means to show up. What I love about our relationship with Billie Jean King is, she is a bold disruptor and she is a kind heart. And what she's done to change the game for women in sports has been unbelievable. We've created a great partnership with her, and we are leaning in with her in a big way over the year. And we have found that what she brings to the table is an authenticity, and she really supports everyone, and she supports more so women. So last year we partnered with her at the U.S. Open, where she was supporting equal pay for equal play. And then what she did when she kicked Bobby Riggs' ass when she played him in tennis for Battle of the Sexes was just another way that we're not gonna do logo slaps. So my recommendation is don't put a logo on something. It doesn't mean anything unless you stand behind it. And we stand behind everything we do at ELF. And that's what makes me so proud to work for such an incredible organization that really does support everyone, every eye, lip, and face.
For each of you, right? We've been, I know we've been talking about women's sports. We've been talking about its ascendancy. I think it feels like so many factors are in play here that are saying we're past the tipping point, whether that's national ratings for women's basketball and a whole host of things. For you personally, what do you feel is sort of the contribution that you can provide and that you'd like to see from others that you're not seeing?
I would like for people to stop treating women's sports like a novelty. Like we've been playing sports for a very long time. And the women who have worked so hard to establish these leagues and get them to a space where we can now elevate these incredible athletes who have these big brands, who can reach a larger audience of young women, of young men, and be inclusive. It's not just a thing that's happening right now. It feels like a trend and everyone's kind of jumping on. It's just sports. It's just sports. That's it. It's just sports.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't have to default to the men. Sorry to all the men here. It doesn't have to be the default. And I think we will get there. I'm glad that we're having these conversations right now. I'm glad that everyone is here. We love it. Welcome to the party. Everyone is welcome. Get up to date on the athletes, learn their stories. Don't support them because it's a trend. Support them because you love the work that they put in, the skill that they have, what they represent to people, how they inspire people. I mean, we've had legends in many different sports spaces that have crossed over into these branding spaces and have represented so much to the business of sports that treating it the same as you treat men's sports from a business perspective, from an investment perspective, from a branding perspective, from a social media perspective. Women spend a lot of money. I'm a shopper. I am a consumer. I would love to consume things from someone that I respect and am interested in their brands, like Flaugier. Like, there's so much to women's sports that is not just a trend that's happening right now. And it's happening right now because of the years and years and years of hard work that so many talented and intentional people put in. So I hope that this moment continues in a positive way, in a realistic way, and that we just eventually drop the women from it, because we don't have to have a default when it comes to sports.
Love it.
Yeah, oh, no, I was so into it, I forgot the question. I'm not gonna lie. What was the question?
Just what would you like to see change in what you are seeing in terms of the connection to women's?
Absolutely. Yeah, you said that, women's sports was kind of I think we're like truly at the beginning. I think we're truly just climbing the mountain. And what I would like to see is just not only the top dogs getting all the money. You know what I mean? I think for me, it's like, I'm grateful, don't get me wrong, but like, it's like when I get an NIL deal, right? I have a JBL deal, right? JBL deal, and they're like, gift your teammates some product. I'm like, okay, cool, like, they can get some headphones, but like, at the end of the day, like, I'm playing a team sport. And for me to be the only one that's, not the only one, but, getting paid the dollars that I'm getting paid, I just wish it was just a little more widespread. And I feel like we'll get there as, women, athletes continue to grow their brand. But as one of the faces of NIL and college basketball, and I want to create more opportunities for more of the other athletes who don't have as big of a brand, but I mean, they put in the blood, sweat, and tears like me, and I feel like in a way there should be a way for other athletes to really build their brand, learn their value, and actually be able to make money from that. So I want it to be a little bit more widespread how it is. Like, it's like the NBA. Like, okay, nobody's going to get a deal like LeBron James. Like, he's LeBron James. But there's enough space and enough plates at the table for everybody to eat. So that's kind of the place where I am with it. I know we're at the beginning, and it's just starting to have its big bang, but I believe like incorporating more teams and getting more faces out there is only going to grow the game. More stories, more people, more women, more us.
I would also add to that, storytelling is so massive, right? And TikTok is a big part of that. Yeah. Storytelling is what makes athletes relatable. We know Flaugier's story, right? We know LeBron's story. So opening up the opportunity for us to learn the stories of more female athletes will only expand the leagues. It will expand branding opportunities and business opportunities, fandom, early fandom, getting young kids invested in the sport and the players at a younger age so they grow up like we all did with our heroes. So storytelling is a massive, massive part of that. And I think that brands have unlimited opportunities. As Flaugier said, there's so many female athletes that have these incredible stories and things that are interesting about them, or things that they grew up doing, or you never know what's going to go viral and relate to a massive amount of people. And I feel a responsibility as, as a broadcaster to continue to tell stories. But if brands are looking to seize on this moment and leagues are looking to expand, storytelling is a massive part of that. And social media and TikTok has a role to play in that as well.
Wonderful. I was going to ask a question about multidimensionality, which is effectively, I think it's kind of spoken for here, right? There's a lot of folks who are in the audience who have some sort of identity, right? Whether that's a job that they have, maybe they're an athlete, maybe there's something else. But people tend to think of people as one-dimensional, right? But that's not true for anybody, right? So, but you all have done it. You've actually, frankly, recast yourselves in other ways, right? Patrick, you're not just somebody who represents a brand. Like you are much more than that. So I asked that in the sense, how did you sort of overcome those challenges to actually then embrace all aspects of you? Flaujay, I think we can start with you.
Yeah, no, I mean, it's still a challenge because people doubt me so much. And it's kind of like they want to prove me wrong, right? And they're like, she can't, it's no way she can do both, right? Like, you can't play basketball and you can't rap. You can't make, it's just not possible, right? And I was literally talking to my publicist, and it's like, it's almost like people don't want to accept it. Me personally, I'm the type of person, I'm gonna make you accept it. Like, and I know that it's possible because my mom told me. My mom told me when I was younger, never take no for an answer. You don't have a ceiling. Don't let anybody put you in a box. So my mindset has always been like, I can do both. So even when there are some type of obstacles or hurdles, it's like, I gotta get it done. I gotta tackle it because I know, first of all, I'm doing something that nobody has ever really done before. And then I'm inspiring other people. I actually got a DM from a little girl, and she was like, Flaujay, you made me realize that I can be a basketball player and I can be a doctor, right? And I was like, wow, like a basketball player and a doctor. She was like, yeah, like, she's like, you're doing a rap thing. I can go to school and do the basketball and be a doctor. And I was like, what I'm doing is much more powerful than I think, right? Because it's kind of changing and shifting the mindsets of young kids. Like, I can do whatever I want to do. And so that's what I try to push in my music. That's why I named my project Best of Both Worlds. It's just letting people know, like, anything you want to do is accessible. You just have to have the work ethic to do it. And I think society is just it's so normalized to just put people in a box. Like, you have to be this, you have to dress like this, you have to look like this in order to be successful in this. And I feel like I'm just a pure representation of breaking those barriers, so I have to succeed. Like, you know what I mean? And I just think it's so important for people to tap into different ventures because we're not made to be one-dimensional. Like, we're human. We're made to do so many things. And so that's why I think it's important. That's why social media is important. Not even social media, just TikTok is important because it shows you can do so many things. Like, I like to say I'm the anomaly because I'm just so different. And that's the thing, like being multifaceted, like it's like the new wave. Like, I'm not limited anymore. And I think like that's the message that I'm wholeheartedly trying to push to everybody. Like, you can do whatever you want to do. You can be whoever you want to be, as long as you like lead with kindness, and everything will work out perfectly fine.
Amen.
That's a true mic drop moment. Thank you so much. This has been an awesome conversation. We're going to get kicked off this stage very soon, and I feel bad because I wanted to hear what our panelists had to say. But thank you so much. It's been great.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.